So, dear Dhamma practitioners, this is our ongoing meditation session. Be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed one, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes for ourselves to understand this meditation technique, because it is very necessary yourself to be very clear with the practice, that whatever you do, what is the technique and how it develop your inner awareness and how it can bring the result. Otherwise, it always create a kind of like a doubt, and your mind kind of like become like clouds, not clear. So with that unclear mind, when you into practice, it become very difficult for you. And by the time what will happen, maybe you get tired or maybe you give up practice. It can happen slowly, it slowly degrade. So when you have the clarity, when you mentally have the clarity, it slowly start to move little by little towards the path. Maybe without any intention sometimes, deeply, that you start to develop a pattern to hold it to the path. That is very important. So as you know, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, the one of the major important lesson that the Buddha gave us and directly told the truth. In that truth, we all heard about the suffering, that the life is suffering. The samsara itself suffering. So first we have to accept it. And sometimes we think, oh, I can make it happen. I know how to do things. So like that, we always become self-centered and put some high value on our own imagination. And then we try to do things. But when you look back to yourself, that whatever the decisions you took with that self-centered mind, and slowly start to bring the difficulties. And when it comes to the very nature of life, we have to understand. We have to accept the truth. We have to accept the very bottom level of nature. That nature is itself is change. So that is what we have to know. So whatever the conditions, whatever the things, that whatever the phenomena, whatever the dharma, whatever the teachings, or anything, whatever the ideas or the desire, we have to know that all come out of the change. So then we have to accept that change. And at the same time, what the Buddha told, that the life is suffering, and there is a way to get out of that suffering. That way is not a kind of like a puzzle and going here and there searching. No, there is a direct way to get out of the suffering. So that is what called satipatthana. Contemplating on the body, contemplating the feelings, contemplating the mind or the thoughts, contemplating the phenomena or the Dhamma. So when it comes to that, there are many ways that it explains that this mindfulness. There are many avenues that you can have to understand this contemplation and at the same time how to practice. So we're going to take that mainly when it comes to the satipatthana, that the mainly that leads to the tranquility and vipassana both together. There are certain ways it interprets and give you kind of like a space. It's kind of like opening a window to understand how you should practice it day by day, day by day. So one is called foundation of mindfulness. So the foundation of mindfulness is a kind of like a very objective way. You take that the mindfulness, that you take the practice as the foundation of your day-to-day activities or the life. So the foundation of mindfulness, you stand on it, you depend on it, you develop the life with it. Otherwise, you do whatever you want every day, and then once a while you start to practice meditation, again go back and do things. That doesn't work. So it's important that you develop your life knowingly. The mindfulness is the base, so that whatever you do, you merge, you attach that actions, that activities, that event towards your mindfulness practice. And at the same time, another meaning of that so whatever you do with the mindfulness. So there are two ways that you have to understand the foundation of mindfulness. So the one is the very objective way you take it, and you develop your all the bodily, verbally, mentally actions, and the whatever the lifestyle, whatever the events or the activities you perform, you always remember it should lead to your mindfulness. And other thing is, whatever you do it with mindfully. So that way, everyday life, you slowly start to link to your deeper spiritual practice. There's another way that you develop your awareness. So it's kind of like the bringing the awareness little by little higher and strengthening it, make it more stronger. And another way, another window, arousing of mindfulness. Arousing of mindfulness is a kind of like a way that it's arousing, that you awaken, that you have to awake. It's kind of like from what we have to awake. Mainly that our needs covered our life. Our needs hold our life. Our needs kind of like block the light towards the wisdom. So then sometimes that needs come out of the very moment of desire. That if you look very carefully, just imagine, just look that your own life, like a few years back, maybe not even few years, maybe few days, and sometimes you went to market and you saw something that you had a very urgent that needs. Oh, I want to buy it. I want to buy it. That need maybe didn't have that much strong roots. It just arose in the moment with the feelings. Or maybe that if everybody buys something, like when you go with children, sometimes when all other children buy something, and then maybe your children also, oh, I also want that. So like that, we also kind of like children in the world sometimes when it comes to needs. So you have to look into that, and to awake from the needs, you have to have some kind of strength. So the mindfulness is the key, that giving the moment to awake from the needs. So when you have needs, you have to be mindful. That's how that you can use it to, when you have needs, suddenly be mindful and see from where it come, why I want it, and arose from the kind of like desires, emotions. Those are the things we should awake in day-to-day life, because we are on sleep. We in deep sleep with our emotions. Sometimes we are very deep sleep with some kind of our desires, and even that we don't want to awake from that. If somebody even try to awake, we take it as a disturb. When we in a deep, sound sleep, that if somebody try to disturb, we get mad. So the same thing, even we open eyes deeply, sometimes emotionally we are sleeping. Even we hear things, even we feel things, but in the deeper, with the desires, sometimes we not hear things. So the arose of mindfulness means that you have to tap into the mindfulness rather than the desires, rather than the emotions, rather than go towards the wanting. You, in that very moment, when the needs arise, don't try to fight with the needs. You can't. You can't, because that's the very nature of life. We go into that. Don't try to fight with the emotions, or don't try to fight with the desires. Don't try to fight with the want. Looking in that very moment, look into your mind. Be mindful about the condition of the mind. From what kind of point of view that you have the desire. So in that very moment, you get into something. That's a profitable skill. And that what you get, if you do it again and again and again and again, it's going to become a stronger. So arousing of mindfulness, awake of with the mindful in day-to-day life. So it is not just only close your eyes. In day-to-day life, with things that the needs arise when with eyes open, when the ears, when you hear things with the ears, with the smell, with the taste, with the feelings, with the all perception, with our needs arise, our desires arise when we in the world. Our emotions arise when we engage with things. So in that very moment, rather than going towards outside object, bring the awareness or put the attention to your mind. Day by day, then you will recognize. So that is another window. So the one is the foundation of mindfulness. Another one is arousing of mindfulness. So the third one is abiding in mindfulness. So the abiding, this abides nature, connection, continuation. Keep merging always towards the mindfulness without changing. So that is something, just imagine. So whatever the actions you do from morning to night, just try that when you do things, if you become mindful, that awareness, that little by little, you can continue. You can that connect to the next action. So there are many, from morning to night, there are a lot of things you do, but when you do it with the mindfully, then what will happen? So actions will change, that the outside the environment will change, and you may engage with the different environment or the situations, but still that your awareness is going to be more and more and more clear. So that even while we practice meditation, so that's why sometimes that if you practice 5 minutes meditation, can you keep the continuation? Or maybe it's maybe 1 minute and then disappear, again 1 minute, so like that. So the continuation is very necessary, and connect that, because sometimes when we do actions in day-to-day life, whatever we do, maybe we think for certain things we should be mindful. No, all the time. With what? With your bodily, verbally, mentally actions. So that way, you're going to understand something little by little, deeply yourself. And you have to change the attitude about the world. When it comes to this vipassana level of practice, because when you contemplate, when you observe, when you understand, there are some certain qualities you should have within yourself. One is ardent, delight. It's not like a lethargic, lazy way. Ardently. It's kind of like clearly putting some energy on you. You have to observe. You have to follow that three windows, three paths. The foundation of mindfulness. Now you know what is that foundation. Arousing of mindfulness. Abiding of mindfulness. So those three things you should link with the certain qualities. So the one is ardent. I mean, with some energy, strength. Another one is the clarity. Always you should have the clarity with your inner awareness, your point of view. You always have to make it clear. And other thing is, you should know and you should be mindful that whatever the thoughts arise in you regarding the world or regarding that object, there should not be a strong desire to look for self-centered kind of like a satisfaction. And that is where you build up a self-discipline deeper inside you. Another one is the discontent regarding the world. Not to go towards the grasping and look for self-satisfaction and hold it to it and become with it. So that way, another thing is you have to look into the world knowingly, not to fulfill your life out of that whatever the objects. So there another way that you should not look into the world. That when it comes to the world means what? All the perception that you perceive through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. You should not look into that to become out of that object. So as example, ownership. You should not into the world to gain any ownership. You should not into the world not to gain any kind of satisfaction. Oh, if I have it, if I have it. So kind of like that, fulfill the desires. So without that, ardently, clearly, knowingly, mindfully, if you look into things, then your deeper your awareness going to become crystal clear. Crystal clear. That is what means. So the practice meditation means we're going to bring that clarity to ourselves. Why we need that clarity? Because these four foundations, contemplating the body, so the always observing the sitting, walking, lying down. standing. So this posture, you're always observing the very behavior of your own body without having self-centered mind, without putting your self-centered opinion, without judging it. You just observe the very behavior, the nature. Another one is the feelings and the mind, and the other one is the phenomena of the dharmata. So when it comes to dharmata or the Dhamma, contemplating the Dhamma or the phenomena, the very nature, another thing is that you observe this, the five hindrance. That's one of very beautiful way of recognizing the life, and at the same time that recognition will help you to get out of the samsara, or you can go towards the liberation, because the five hindrances are the reason that we are here like this. So the very nature of life. So when it comes to that, our mind is like a crystal clear water. So then what happens? Because of the sensual desires, which we call the kama chanda, and we get into the coloring. So it's like a colored water, that crystal clear water into coloring. That's where the different like, dislike arise, and the different way of designs, the passions going to be around us. We become so passionate and we develop a passion because of the self-centered desires. So once you capable to look with the clear mind what happened, you get out of that coloring water. Then you go back to that crystal clear water. And another one is what we call vyapada, ill will, anger. So it's kind of like a boiling water. So once you start to get out of that, and you go back to the crystal clear water. So other one is the thina middha, sloth and thofa. So it's kind of like a very slimy moss, and the water is covered with something. And now with the clear mind, ardent mind, knowingly, when you observe the world, when you experience the world, you slowly get out of it and have the crystal clear water. And uddacha kukkucha, or the restlessness, it's kind of like the water with the waves, with the wind, the tornadoes, the waves. So once you start to observe the world with the ardent and clear, knowingly and with mindfully, and what happens, it go back to that crystal clear water nature. And vichikicca, the doubt, and it's kind of like a water in a dark place, you can't see it. So when you start to observe, when you see the world with the ardent and clearly and knowingly and mindfully, it's kind of like you see the water, that you go to the crystal clear water in a very sunny day. So like that, the attitude, the way that we behave ourselves within our own mind is very important for us. So then through meditation, through practice, always remember the outside objects are very important, but more than that, The very nature of the mind, the very condition of the mind, the very behavior of the mind, the point of view that hold by the subject, that experiencer, is very important. But most of the time, that is what we neglect. That's why we need some kind of practice. So through this practice, we try to brush up and we try to clean ourselves. So there is nothing then we can bring from outside and put it to inside. Only thing is through this samsaric journey, knowingly or unknowingly, so what happened? We accumulated a lot of unnecessary things. Now we look the world with that. So that is what happened. So because of that, what happened? Again and again, maybe we see the same thing. We don't, maybe we not see things very clearly as it is. We think with our previous habits or the patterns or the opinions. So kind of like that. So through the meditation, especially through this vipassana, so through this, that satipatthana, it's try to brush up and clean. So then always while you practice, remember, rather that more than the outside environment or the object or the situation, always look into your inner awareness and inside. And little by little, try to brush up it. And remember that in the beginning, what I mentioned as how you should put the mindfulness, foundation of mindfulness. So the inside foundation and the outside foundation, that the both should be, and the arousing of mindfulness, and the awake from your own feelings, the desires, the emotions, because no one not going to do it. Maybe other people maybe will, help you to go into more sleep. So then it is your responsibility to awake from it. Abiding, continuation, without breaking, changing, without changing the path. Keep it, keep it, keep it. And at the same time, that urgently, clearly, knowingly, mindfully, that remember that all this, with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, the perception that what you perceive and experience it without grasping, holding, or without having any intention to become out of this outside world. So if you can live a moment like that way, you will see that kind of like that crystal clear mind, you will see the bliss that you carry within yourself. It is there. So we just try to find that bottom, find that depth, and be with that depth. Okay, with that, so let's get into practice a little bit now. Your right palm on your left and neck, head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Swapatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And when it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as the light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible. Near or far away. Already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourselves and send it as a light and expand the capacity. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it. with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya Dhamma nu Dhamma Patipattiya Buddham Pujemi Dhammang Pujemi Sanghang Pujemi Addaya Imaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadhi Maranam Ha Paribunjisami Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.